Hello and welcome to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, Piers Austin, and we are coming to you live in Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm joined tonight by my good friend, my good buddy, my other compadre, Chucky Bebe. How are you this evening, Charles? Or early
Not
morning, I should
bad.
say.
Yeah, early morning, got my coffee and I just downed another one, so I'm ready to go. I'm all amped up and get this underway.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'd also like to make special mention to Wrestling Maniacs, Generational Wrestling Society, WCW Nation for allowing us to stream this interview in their groups also. And I'd also like to thank our very, very good friend Mikey Butter Bing Mados for making all of the artwork that we're able to put up on our shows as well. But Charles, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about our sponsors and just thank them for sponsoring the show, and then we can get into Mr. Russo.
Yeah, for sure. So we'd like to thank firstly Signal Studios. I believe he's a personal friend of Piers, wherever there he is.
Recording studio in Sydney.
Based in Sydney. Mayan Belts, hit them up for all your custom wrestling belts. A-Rock Designs for your custom tumblers and cups. And also Immortal Restoning. So hit them all up and support everyone. Thanks for the support, guys.
Thank you very much. And now
Beautiful.
I'd like to introduce our guest. He is one of the most controversial men in professional wrestling, if not the most controversial personality in professional wrestling. He's worked for WCW, WWF / WWE, and also TNA. His name is Vince Russo. Vince, thank you so much for joining us this evening. How are you, sir?
Oh, no problem, Piers. I'm good. How are you? What time is it there by you guys?
It's just past 2 a.m.
Oh, my God, man. Wow.
Thankfully, it's Saturday. Thankfully, so I get a nice sleep in after this.
Okay, so you're into Saturday. All right, well, that's
Yeah.
not bad then. That's not bad. And, also when you intro me like as the most controversial man, bro, I swear to God, I am not controversial at all. People have made me controversial. Bro, all I did was write a TV show. That's all I did. Bro, I've had many, many jobs in my life. Being a wrestling television writer was one of those jobs. All I did was write a wrestling show to what I thought was the best of my ability. So when you say controversial, bro, people have made me controversial. I was just a guy doing my freaking job, bro.
Oh, absolutely. And we do want to get into your career and your time within the major promotions for professional wrestling, but a bit about you growing up. So you grew up in the New York area. You were born and raised in New York, correct?
Yeah, Long Island, yes.
Long Island. And what were you doing before you got into professional wrestling?
Oh man. Well, actually I had two of the earliest video stores, man. Video stores were just opening up, man. There wasn't even such a thing as Blockbuster yet. And I had two video stores, and I loved my video store business. And I would have been doing that forever if I was able to. But, Blockbuster came onto the scene. I could not compete with them. Wound up putting my stores out of business, and that's how I kind of segued into wrestling.
Yeah, right. And I actually heard that how you got into WWF was you sent a letter to Linda McMahon, introducing yourself and applying for a job that way. Yeah. How did the mentality to go through Linda instead of Vince? Like, how did that dawn on you?
Well, I wasn't really like applying for a job. Like there really wasn't. I didn't know if there were any job openings or anything like that. But I was smart enough to realize I'm not going to write to Vince McMahon. He's never going to read the letter. So I wound up writing to Linda McMahon, telling her what I was doing. I was doing a radio show at the time. I had no idea that Linda was in charge of publications. I had no idea. But as it turned out, publications and the WWE magazine were under her. They needed some freelance writers. She put me in contact with the editor of the magazine at the time, and that's how I got started.
Yeah. And did you have a degree in journalism or writing in anything from college?
Oh
Or
yeah,
was
I
it-
had a degree in journalism. I was editor of my college newspaper. I worked for the local um, paper in where I went to college. I did work for the local TV station when I was in college. But yeah, I mean, I had a degree in journalism, and I had some writing experience.
Yeah. And so sorry, we just echoed that. 1 second. So you got into WWE by writing the WWF magazine there for for a little while, and then you got brought into the writing team through Cowboy Bill Watts. Was that correct? Or he sort of introduced you and sort of started to bring you into those creative meetings?
Yes, yep.
Yeah. And what was some of the learnings that you took from those early days of going into those creative meetings? Obviously the backstage protocols in pro wrestling and everything along those lines. Did you sort of pick those things up as you went along, or?
Yeah, I kept my mouth shut and I listened. And I had, I had a lot of, mentors, and I had a lot of people like kind of teaching me the ropes. Bruce Pritchard was one of those people. Jack Lanza was one of those people. Vince himself was one of those people. So like I went through a great deal of mentoring for a while before I even started to do anything for television. And then, when I started working a little bit, when I started crossing over, I would write promos that the guys would cut for house shows. Then I would start writing for just specific characters. And then that pretty much turned into, me, kind of being the head writer of Raw. So there were many, many steps that were taken before I got to, being the head writer of Raw.
Oh, of course. It's a gradual progression
Right.
into that role. And obviously that's what, before someone could be in that role would need to sort of go through that sort of stages to understand what's needed. But, as far as like, putting together, Monday Night Raw, that would have been, was that consuming you on a 24/7 basis?
Yeah,
like, was your
pretty
mind
much,
always
man.
constantly going?
It's not like today where it's copy and paste every week. I never wanted to repeat anything. If I knew I had seen something before, I would think of something else. There weren't jobber matches on the show. It was original content that I always wanted to be fresh, and I always wanted to be different. So yeah, man, it took, it was 24/7, man.
Yeah. And how did you obviously, once you've sort of come up with these storylines, were you coming up with like 6-12 months ahead of time?
No,
or was
not
it?
at all. We were writing from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. That's how we were writing. We were writing basically like 4 blocks at a time to get from, the January pay-per-view to the February to the March. We were writing from pay-per-view to pay-per-view. This long-term 6 months, 12, bro, that is such BS.
Yeah.
Especially in wrestling, bro. These aren't actors. These guys are going to get hurt. So, you're not going to waste your time writing 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in advance. When guys get hurt, they got to be written off the show, contracts and whatnot. We never, ever did that in the WWE. We worked from pay-per-view to pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Did you ever have, especially early on, anyone try and force someone down your throat in terms of like, hey, you've got to use, like, we want this guy to be prominently used? Or were you just given free reign to say, hey, I've got the pen, I've got the paper, the rating's going to dictate who I put on and who I don't?
Well, we pretty much had free reign. We just pretty much had free reign. Ed and I would write the show, and then we would bring it to Vince, and we would lay out the show to Vince, and we would tell Vince, why we were doing the things that we did. We would give him some indication of where we were going, but not 6 months from now, like in 2-3 weeks, But that's pretty much it, bro. Back then it was 2 writers. It was me and Ferrara. We wrote the show A to Z, and we presented it to Vince.
And that's kind of like looking at it now as a fan or a former fan. I tend to see, like, you talk about how it was basically you, Ed, and then Vince right at the end to sort of put the bow on the present sort of thing. And now you see them; they've got 50,000 hands and 50,000 pots. Do you think that, in itself is really killing the product?
Oh, no doubt about it, bro. You cannot write a weekly show that way. You cannot.
Yeah.
When you're writing a weekly show, bro, you have to have absolute focus. There is no time to waste. You are under very, very strict deadlines. There's no way that their structure, bro, it is so out of whack. It is proven that it is not working. They have way too many people. I don't know how it turned from 2 guys to what it is today. Obviously, it's not for the better. The numbers, tell you that. But the way the structure is set up right now, it could never, ever be successful.
Yeah.
And is that because you think there's too many hands in the pot directing and trying to create there as far as writers?
Yeah, bro, there's not enough hours in the day. I mean, there just isn't, man. The more people that are involved, the more opinions you have to listen to, the more discussions you have to have, the more argument. There's just not enough hours in a day. You are writing a weekly show. You just don't have that kind of time to waste.
Yeah. And have you ever had talent when you've gone to them and said, right, this is the plan, what we have for you? Have you ever had talent turn around and go, there is no way in the world I'm going to do that?
Never.
No?
Nope.
They all sort of were able to say, okay, yep, I have no problem.
Because they were part of the process. So, they were allowed to add their 2 cents. If they wanted to question anything, they could question it. If they could make something better, fine, make it better. But back then, bro, they were a part of the process. I mean, we worked together. So there would never be an attitude of, F you, we ain't going to do this. I mean, I worked together with every single talent that I ever wrote for.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best way to do it is obviously the collaboration between two people, the writer and the performer, and that's what's going to get the best result at the end of it is obviously when both have an input into the final outcome, essentially.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
So how did you find actually, presenting things to Vince? Like, did he question things a fair bit, or was it more like he was very free flowing?
Ed and myself, bro, we wrote the show and we were very, very thorough. We knew Vince, we knew where he was going to try to poke holes in it. So I mean, bro, when we presented him that show, it was pretty much done. He would add nuances and he would add his touches here and there. He would never change anything. He would add to it to make it better. But we worked really, really hard on the shows. And when we went to him, we pretty much had a finished product.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, I think that's probably, at that level, that's what the expectation would be, really. Like obviously, absolutely. If you've got your head writer is actually coming to bring something, to you and say, this is what it is. And it has to be obviously something solid.
Yeah. I mean, Vince doesn't have time to write a TV show. I mean, bro, this is the owner of the company. I mean, his day to day and the stuff that he is dealing with, he doesn't have time to write a television show.
Oh, absolutely. He's running an actual business. Sorry, Charles.
No, I was going to say, I'd just love to know what has changed in that scenario. Obviously, more hands in the pot, but I mean, if he
doesn't trust anybody, Charles. He don't trust them. He doesn't trust them. He doesn't have faith in them. And like my whole thing is, bro, if you don't trust these people, if you don't have faith in them, and you feel you have to do everything yourself, then why are they there?
Well, that's
like I was telling you guys like earlier, I owned businesses. I owned businesses. If I had an employee that I didn't trust and I didn't have confidence in, that employee wouldn't be there. So like that's what I don't understand, bro. Like if you don't trust these people and you don't think they're capable of doing the job, then why are they there?
Exactly.
And it almost feels as if they're making up for the lack of trust with just throwing more people at the problem. It's almost like putting a band-aid on a fucking, and it's eventually the boat's going to sink. You can't plug a hole, hole of the boat with a band-aid.
The boat has sunk, bro. They are at such a all-time low, bro. I've been watching wrestling since the early 70s. It has never ever been this horrible. Not even close. Bro, it got pretty bad in like 94, but nowhere close to where it is right now.
And I feel bad watching for the talent. Seeing some of these guys, like a lot of the guys, like, I mean, you talk about Lashley a lot on the stuff on the brand. I mean, Jesus, he's a ready-made stuff. I mean, he was packaged, ready to go.
Yep.
And it's not for lack of trying, but it just doesn't look like they're trying.
They're not, bro. They're not. They're not. And that's why, bro, I have no problem knocking them. And, you know, people could say you're bitter, this and that. Bitter about freaking what, bro? I'm sitting behind my computer. I'm making a good living. I don't have to deal with the bullshit. But yeah, bro, if I'm watching a show and it looks like you're not trying and you're not putting any thought or effort into it when I know what it takes, bro, you're damn right I'm going to bury the show.
And that's
the thing, you want to give an honest opinion to it.
Right.
Sorry, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, bro. It's not even about bad ideas. You know, ideas are subjective. So like, I don't rip them for bad ideas. I very rarely do. Bro, they don't have any ideas. They're not coming up with anything. It's the effort. And yeah, I am going to rip the effort all day long because I know what me and Ed Ferrara put into those shows.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's the blood, sweat, and tears, really. You know, like and just hearing some of like some of your past interviews where you were talking about the, you know, the pressures and the stresses of it. You know, to me, I think that, you know, being a head writer for a weekly TV series, you know, it would be one of the most live TV shows as well. You know, would have to be one of the most stressful jobs one person could possibly even do.
But that's the thing, bro. It's like, you know, my whole thing is, okay, bro, whatever. They don't care anymore. Regardless of what the rating is, they got their Fox contract. They got their USA Network contract. They got their Saudi Arabia deal. So like whether 5 million people watch or whether 1 million people watch, you know, maybe it doesn't even affect their bottom line because, you know, they've got contracts. But then, bro, you know, I ask myself the simple question, like, where's your pride, bro? Forget about all that. I know when we were writing the shows, bro, of course it was about money. Of course it was about ratings. But more than anything else, our name was on the show. Our name was on the show. So we wanted it to be the absolute best thing that we could write. Where is the pride, man?
And that's the crazy thing now. When you watch it, or when you see TV in general, that's sort of almost looks like it's slapped together last minute, and then you go and watch. You can jump on YouTube and find guys on YouTube who don't have any experience writing TV, who produce better products. Like I personally spend more time on YouTube than I would watching TV. Because in today's day and age, you can't afford to get away with shit TV because we'll just jump on YouTube or Instagram. I don't have time for that. I'm not
streaming, or we'll go stream something that we can have at the touch of our fingertips. You know, it's the 80s and 90s of what we grew up in were a much different time. But you know, we will go to a few questions from the audiences or the viewers as well. We have got quite a few live audience. We've got quite a few viewers for this interview for this evening or early morning if you're in the US. But guys, I just wanted to also make sure to all of our viewers and audience members, please make sure that your questions are respectful. If they are not respectful, we will not be bringing those messages up. Plain and simple. Hey, who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Wow, bro, that is so hard because I have several, man. I don't know if I could name just one. I mean, bro, I love God. I mean, I love the Valiant Brothers. I loved Lou Albano. I loved Ernie Ladd. I loved, later on, man, I loved freaking Savage. I mean, bro, there are a lot of people I really, really liked.
To piggyback off that question, was there someone you really, or people that you really enjoyed working with, like anyone in particular throughout your writing career?
Oh, I mean, bro, I loved working, with Mick and Rock and Austin, bro, even at TNA, like I loved working with Angle. Kurt Angle was great to work with. Sting was great to work with. Bro, I really didn't have too many bad experience working with people until my later years in TNA, when that young crop of young people started getting into the business who had zero respect. Bro, I mean, these 20 something kids were coming into the business like in the mid to late 2000s, who had an attitude that they knew more than I would ever know. Man, at that point, bro, when the respect was out the window, it wasn't fun anymore, bro. And when I was working with guys like Taker and Brett and Sean, and I can go on and on and on and on, and Vader, and bro, there was a respect. They respected my job, I respected their job. This new generation of wrestling, they respect nobody, bro. And I saw that, bro. I started seeing it mid 2000s, late 2000s. And, that's why finally, man, in 2012, I just got out of the business because it wasn't the same business that I was brought up in.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of our very good friends, Mr. Jeff Parthay from Immortal Restoning, he is a big Hulk Hogan fan, and every guest we have on, he has a question about Hulk Hogan that he likes to ask. What is your opinion today on in Jeff's mind, the greatest of all time, Hulk Hogan?
Bro, I wouldn't argue with Jeff about Hogan being the greatest of all time. I mean, I would not argue with that at all, man. I saw the Hulk Hogan era, bro, and freaking Hulk Hogan was larger than life. So I'm not going to question greatest of all time. I'm not going to question that at all. Bro, listen, I like Hulk and I like him a lot. I know a lot of the issues I had with Hulk stemmed from Eric Bischoff. Bro, if Eric Bischoff was not there, and Hulk Hogan was not brainwashed about the type of person Vince Russo is, I know I would have not had a single issue working with Hulk Hogan. There were many times at TNA, bro, that I had alone time with Hulk. I had phone conversations with Hulk, and it was a great, great, great experience. But once Eric got involved and, Eric painted me a certain way to Hulk, it was not good. But that never waned the way I felt about Hulk Hogan. I think he's tremendous. I think he is the greatest of all time. I have zero issues whatsoever with Hulk Hogan.
What's your relationship with Hulk Hogan like now? Do you have?
I don't have one. I think the last time I probably saw or spoke to Hulk was when I left TNA in 2012. That was probably the last time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And how are things between you back then?
Oh, well, I mean, when we were working together, it was fine. It was fine. There were no issues.
Yeah. And I think obviously people still remember, the bash at the beach, Jarrett laying down for the 1-2-3. And, obviously that was, many, many moons ago. And I think a lot of people still hold on to old school beefs. But,
Bro, there is no old school beef. I've told the story a million times, and people, bro, they've got their own narrative, so they don't want to believe it. The only person who was not in on what was going on that night was Jeff Jarrett. He's the only one. Between me and Hulk, everything that went down was discussed. Everything. It was a work. And I said that from day one. And people, bro, the most frustrating thing to me in the world is, bro, I have no reason whatsoever to lie at all about a job I had. Okay, bro, it was a job. Okay, bro, I worked for CBS Publishing. I owned my own businesses. I've had many jobs. I have no reason in the world to lie about a freaking job. And the most frustrating thing to me in the world is when I sit here and I tell you the absolute truth. There's no rhyme or reason or advantage to me lying about anything, and you'll sit there and you'll tell me I'm lying. I mean, bro, that gets so old. Bro, I've been married for 36 years. I've never cheated on my wife ever. Okay? But I mean, bro, like stuff like that, like a husband cheating on his wife or something like that. Like, bro, I understand reasons to lie. You know what I'm saying, bro? If you have to hide something that's going to hurt you, or that's going to cause your wife to leave, or whatever. Like, I understand the meaning of lying. Nothing happened in my wrestling career that I need to lie about. Nothing happened that was going to change my life. Nothing happened that I was ashamed of. Nothing happened that I wouldn't do again. I mean, that's why, like, for me, for my critics to paint me as a liar, I always say, I'm lying about what? And that's when there's never an answer. They can never tell you what I'm lying. I've never been caught in a lie. There's never been any proof of me lying. And that's why sometimes it gets so old, bro, when you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you what happened, and then, oh, no, you're lying. Oh, okay, bro, I'm lying. Like, I don't know what you want me to say then. You know what I mean? It just gets so freaking old, bro. If I shot on Hogan, I would say I shot on Hogan. Now, bro, the thing was, Hogan didn't know exactly what I was going to say, what the words were. Because what I said to him was, I'm going to cut a scathing promo on you. Bro, the reason I said that was because I didn't know what I was going to say. Bro, every promo I ever cut in wrestling, every promo, I didn't write them down. Every promo I ever cut in wrestling, I was in the moment. I was on the spot. I knew what the situation was. I knew what the story was. I cut the promo. I never wrote anything down. So, my words that night, that was the scathing promo. Like I told Hulk I was going to cut. I don't think Hulk liked what I said, probably. But I didn't know what I was going to say, bro. I let everything happen organically. So I didn't know what I was going to say. But as far as him leaving the building and me cutting a promo on him, bro, the reason why he had to leave the building was because I was going to cut a promo on him. And if he didn't leave the building, he would have had to hit the ring. So that's why when we talked about it, it was like, okay, Hulk, you're going to be so pissed off that I showed you up with Jarrett. You're going to be so pissed off. You leave the building, because then I got to go out and cut a promo on you if you were still in the building, you would have to hit the ring. So like all that shit was discussed. But my God, bro, there are still some people that want to believe, oh, that was a shoot. Oh, okay, bro. If you want to believe that, then it was a shoot.
And what about, because Hogan came out and said that it was a shoot. And
Hogan didn't say it was a shoot, bro. The court bro, here's the funny thing. All the court documents are online. Bro, you can go online and read verbatim what everybody said. Bro, do you know that Bischoff and Hogan didn't even tell the same story?
No.
Bischoff and Hogan had two completely different stories. But anybody, bro, that's the thing. You can go back. You can read all the documents. You could read what I said. You could read what Hogan said. And you could read what Bischoff said.
Well, so they didn't have were their stories like completely skewed?
The main points of the stories were different. Like Eric said, they didn't know that, that I was going to cut the promo. That's not what Hulk said. I mean, Hulk basically said that they were in on everything. Like I said, bro, I did not tell Hulk specifically what I was going to say because I did not know. That's the only thing. Because I didn't know what I was going to say.
Was it planned that he was going to have a reply back to that to your response?
Yes, bro. Here's where I made a mistake. Okay. When we agreed on everything, and keep in mind, bro, he was going to leave the building. So like, I wasn't going to be able to talk to him after it ended. Okay.
Yeah.
I told Hulk, because the next night we had Nitro. I said to Hulk, once I get home from Nitro, I will call you and we'll discuss where we're going to go from here. Okay. And I intended to do that without a shadow of a doubt. That's what I was going to do. Well, bro, what happened was after Nitro, I went back to the office. Brad Siegel, who ran TNT and TBS at the time, called me in his office and he said, Vince, what happened at the pay-per-view? So I laid everything out for Brad. And Brad said to me, how did you leave it with Hulk? And I said, Brad, I told him I was going to call him as soon as I got back. And Brad Siegel said to me, Vince, don't call Hulk because we can't afford to put him on the show. I cannot afford to put him on the show right now. So, bro, because that was Brad Siegel, like my boss.
Yeah.
I didn't call Hulk when I told him that I'd call him. Now, I should have said, Brad, I gave the guy my word. I told him I was going to call him. I need to call him. That's what I should have said. I did not say that. I listened to Brad Siegel and I never called Hogan. I should not have done that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, looking back at it, years later, there's always going to be things that you wish that you could have done differently.
Right. But in that aspect, I lied to him. As far as he's concerned, I lied to him because I told him I'd call him and I didn't because Brad Siegel told me not to, but I should have. I should have stuck to my word.
So we'll just go to a viewer question here. This is Mikey Mados, who makes our lovely artwork that you've seen earlier at the beginning of the show, Vince. He says, Vince, your greatest rivalry? ? So I'm thinking he's wanting to know, who do you believe is your greatest rivalry?
Bro, my greatest rivalry is myself, man. I'm my greatest rival, man, because I'm never satisfied. And I always want to do better, and I always want to beat what I did before. I'm my greatest rival, bro. It's, I'm going to be 60, next birthday, and I forever continue to challenge myself and get the most out of myself. And to me, like, that's the greatest rivalry, man. It has never ended.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
man.
most people that reach the pinnacle of whatever they do in their industry, that's kind of the thing you have to have, is that almost that self motivating factor. If you don't have that, you're
100%.
not gonna
Yeah.
make it.
Bro,
Oh,
I'm just not built and wired to rest on laurels.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I mean, Charles, you see with the brand.
Yeah.
I mean, constantly adding new shows. I mean, constant growth in the brand. That'll never stop, man. That's just me.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you actually. Speaking of the brand, while we're on that, obviously you've made it known that once you sort of hit 60, you want to almost be done with doing shows on wrestling. What is there a plan moving forward in terms of like getting more people like Shane Douglas and like Stevie and whatnot, bringing more people in, or keeping to what you've got and just sort of pushing yourself out and letting?
No, it'll be a combination of both. I will definitely continue to bring new people in without a shadow of a doubt. But I will also definitely continue to talk less and less about wrestling. Guys, listen, here's the bottom line. If I was watching the same wrestling today that I was watching in 1973, like that's one thing. I am watching a product week in and week out that is the worst show on television. It is god awful. It is a massive waste of my time. I am not a fan of it. And I can't see me talking about this awful show when I'm a 60-year-old man. I can't see myself doing it anymore.
What's your
I don't
thoughts on? I don't think anyone could blame you, but what's your thoughts on like NXT, Ring of Honor, AEW, these other promotions? Do you think they're all in the same boat?
I think they're all in the same boat, bro, because it's not wrestling. If they want to name it something else, bro, name it something else. It is not professional wrestling, bro. It is, strong style wrestling, U.S. strong, whatever you want to call it. This is not wrestling. Professional wrestling is storylines. Professional wrestling is characters. Professional wrestling is psychology, a story in the ring, selling. There's a lot that goes into wrestling, and almost all of it is non-existent today.
So we've got a question from Kevin Rodriguez. Kevin's a good friend of mine. You can find him. He has his show called The War Room, which is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Very similar to my show, where he interviews people from the world of professional wrestling. His question is, Vince, what started what started the issues between you and, well, I think we know who he's meaning there, Jim Cornette.
Well, I mean, bro, for starters, the underline that I have nothing to do with. The underline is Jim Cornette is from the South. He hates people from the East. Period. End of story. Jim Cornette hates New Yorkers. They're Yankees. So, I mean, you want to talk about racism? Okay, no, we're not talking black and white here. We're talking about this is a guy from the South that hates people from the North. Okay, so like I've got nothing to do with that, bro. Like, do you want my 89-year-old dad to apologize to you for settling in New York and raising me there? Like, is that what you want? So that's number one, bro. The guy hates freaking New Yorkers. Number two, bro, bottom line, in the WWE and in TNA, 2 times I replaced Jim Cornette on creative. Twice, bro. And the reason why I replaced Jim Cornette, bro, was because of Jim Cornette. But Jim Cornette cannot look in the mirror and say, man, why did that Yankee take my spot not once but twice? See, he can't do that. So what does he have to do? He's got to blame me. It's my fault that Vince McMahon chose Vince Russo over Jim Cornette. It's my fault that Dixie Carter chose Vince Russo over Jim Cornette. Anybody that knows Jim Cornette knows how set in his way he is. He's not going to change anything. That's how Jim Cornette is. When you're working with a guy like Vince McMahon, you can't be that way, bro. Like, you can't be set in your ways and it's this way or the highway. You can't be that way. You've got to have an open mind. You've got to be willing to change and change with the times and try new things. And it was the same way with Dixie. It's very difficult, bro, to work with somebody that is so set in their ways. But Jim Cornette wants to blame me for Vince's decision. He wants to blame me for Dixie's decision. It has nothing to do with his shortcomings. I somehow screwed him. Bro, you honestly think I talked Vince McMahon into, oh, Vince, pick me. Honest, we're talking about Vince McMahon here, bro. You don't talk Vince McMahon into anything. Vince McMahon makes his own decisions.
Vince does what Vince wants.
Vince does what Vince wants. So everything you see, everything he says, all the bullshit, bro, I'm a New Yorker. He hates freaking New Yorkers. And on 2 occasions, I was chosen for a job over him. And like I said, bro, he's one of those guys that cannot look himself in the mirror. Okay, what did I do wrong? Maybe I need to change this about myself. Maybe I need to soften my stance and a position. He's never done that, bro. He's been the same guy for the last 30 years, man.
And our good friend Angel Medina, former ECW Originals in the house, he says, same with fucking Dutch Mantel, fuck him.
Well, I could tell you this. Listen, Kevin, I worked with Dutch for a long time. I love Dutch. Dutch is no Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette is hateful. I mean, Jim Cornette, bro, I hear some of the promos he still cuts on people today. He's a hateful man. Dutch Mantel is nothing like that on a personal level. Nothing, bro.
Yeah, for me, I try and listen to as many different podcasts and professional wrestling personalities as possible. When it comes to Jim Cornette, I find it I don't want to say anything bad about him, but I don't connect with that.
I mean, bro,
I'm just saying, like,
bro, I don't like today's style. I've made that clear. I'm not a fan of it. Okay. But on the other hand, I'm not going to paint the picture of Kenny Omega like he's Satan himself. I mean, my God, bro, like, seriously, like, I mean, man, I hear some of the things some of the promos that he cuts on people, Kenny Omega being one of them. Bro, I don't know Kenny Omega from a hole in the wall, but God, bro, the guy doesn't deserve that.
No. And I heard him talk about that hardcore match that Moxley and Omega had, where they used the gimmick glass, and then they used real barbed wire, and then they used fake barbed wire, and he just tore it to shreds. And he's torn, almost as a wrestling fan. Like, I'm a wrestling fan. I've been a lifelong wrestling fan. When I sit down and want to watch a wrestling show, like, the thing is, it's supposed to be that distraction. It's supposed to be that escape from reality where you can sit there and enjoy, professional wrestling, something that you grew up loving. But when you hear someone sort of breaking it down and trashing it, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
That's why I say,
kind of ruining it for you,
If you listen to my show, guys, you will hear all the time, I'm burying the effort. Okay, bro. Yeah. And I have said that I've said this every single day, bro. It's not the guys working in the ring. Do I like that style? No, I do not. Nobody's selling. I don't like that style. Are the guys busting their ass? Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's not, when I say effort, it's not the guys with the trunks on. It's the people at the management level, the people behind the scenes, the creative that just seem to be going through the motions. I never criticize a bad match or it's the effort. That's what I have an issue with.
It's almost like when you're at school and you're doing your work and you don't know that you're doing your work wrong until someone actually comes and tells you, hey, you're doing that wrong. They're not going to know if they're not told. Like, no one's going to know. So that's what I agree with you on that. You can't shit on the talent for the creative. It's not their fault.
Right.
Exactly. Brandon Randall wants to know, when was the last time you spoke to Cornette, and what was said?
That's the funny thing about Cornette. Bro, he's a bully. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill my family. Everything that he's going to do. Bro, I worked with Cornette at WWE. I worked with Cornette TNA. Bro, we spent so much time face to face. I have known Jim Cornette, bro, since like 94.
Yeah.
Never once has this guy said anything to my face. Never one time. He had so many opportunities when I was standing right next to him. And even to this day, bro, I've said a million times, you have such a problem with me. Let's get on a podcast together. Let's have a conversation. Let's donate all the money to charity. Okay? Refuses to say anything to my face. Flat out refuses. How can you respect somebody like that? If you have a problem with me, then say it to me. But I mean, that's why I don't engage Jim Cornette, because there's no end game. He's never going to have a conversation with me. He's never going to address me face to face. He's going to do it on his podcast with his audience and call me every name in the book. There's no end game with him. So it's just a massive waste of time.
When you think about it, I mean, talking of like a convention like a StarCast, think about how many conventions you could headline with a Vince Russo and Cornette, Vince Russo and Meltzer, Vince Russo and Kel. You could do 10. You could do fucking 10 of them and sell them out every time.
What's their freaking problem?
It'd be a license to print money. It'd be a license to print money.
That's what I don't understand, bro. I'm the liar, but yet I'm the one willing to get with any of them. I'll get face-to-face with Meltzer. I'll get face-to-face with Bischoff, Cornette, you name, Wade Keller, whoever you want. I'll go, but I'm the liar? Bro, the only reason they won't do that is obviously there's something to hide. Like what outside of that, what is the reason for talking shit about me for decades and decades and decades? But the minute I say, bro, I want to come on your show, they ignore me. Ignore me, bro. Don't even write me back to say, Vince, we appreciate it, but no thanks. Just ignore me like I never said it. It's like, my God, like, seriously, bro?
Maybe they got the email and went, why do we hate this guy again? I don't know, man. I don't know, bro, but like it is so freaking bizarre to me, man. You have so much that you want to say about me, but you won't say it to me? Yeah.
I don't say one thing, bro. I swear to God, I don't say one thing on my show without thinking in the back of my mind, Vince, if so-and-so doesn't like what you're saying, there's a chance they'll confront you. Okay, I'm willing, ready, and able to be confronted by anybody who doesn't like something I said about them. That's part of the job. That's why guys, like, I've got all the respect in the world for the Young Bucks because many, many years ago, guys, many years ago, I made a comment about the Young Bucks during an interview. Okay. And bro, one of them, and I don't even remember which one it was, one of them emailed me immediately. Vince, I heard what you say about us. I disagree, blah, blah, blah. Bro, I wrote him back immediately and I said, bro, you have no idea how much respect you just earned from me. And I answered him back. I gave him my side. He answered me back. We had a nice conversation. But these other guys, bro, like I don't know how you can even do a podcast if you're going to ignore people that confront you. How can you do a podcast then?
You can't, you know, especially trying to be like a shock jock and, you know, in your face and, you know, a shooter. You know, that's definitely, you know,
that's why I get so frustrated because they never stop, but they won't say it to me. And it's like,
that's the thing. Put Vince Russo and Jim Cornette face to face. That's a pay-per-view.
Bro, I will do that anytime, bro. I offered to do that and donate all the money to the Cauliflower Alley, every freaking penny, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how. Again, I don't know how somebody that is a liar is putting himself out there. Bro, if I'm putting myself out there, I could be exposed. Like, why would I do that?
Well, that's the problem. And then you have all these people who hear what you have to say. They hear what they have to say, and then when you talk, they just do that. And it's like, well, then why bother listening if you're gonna fucking do that when he talks? Like, it makes no sense.
Exactly, bro. Like you know, bro. Like I'm not a fan of the AEW product. Okay. I watched it last night and I liked a lot of things they said on the show. So I'm going to put over a lot of the things they did on the show. I don't have like, okay, bro, everything AEW does, I'm going to freaking hate and I'm going to bury everything they do. No, bro, if they do something that I think is good, I'm going to say I think it was good.
Yeah. I mean, even if you did turn around and say it was bad, even though it was good, people would then just turn around and blast you for it. You know what I mean? Like,
you
know, and be giving your honest opinion. That's obviously how you garner respect and also viewership as well, because, you know, people are going to come to you because they're going to get that honesty from you.
Right. No, absolutely.
That's where you have that sort of half the people love him. Like I'm a fan of yours because you're honest. Then you have half the people that don't want to hear the honesty. So they're, you know, and that's,
bro, that's what it is, bro. That's what it is, bro. The older and older I get, I find this out more and more and more and more, bro. We're living in a world of just liars and con men and politicians, guys. We see it every day on the freaking news, bro. Yeah. People have a real hard time dealing with the truth. They really, really do, bro. People, they don't want to hear the truth. And the reason why they don't want to hear the truth is because they know they're not telling the truth. So when they hear somebody that's telling oh no, bro, I don't want to hear that. I've said it all along, bro. I don't have skeletons in my closet. There's nothing I have to hide. I am a complete open book. I put myself out here every single day. But you've got no reason not to, though. You know, you seem like you're a very straight shooter, Vince. But Kevin Rodriguez, he has a bit of a funny one for you. He's got, Vince, is it true you wanted to sue Matt Riddell for bro infringement? I have no idea where you got that from. I think Matt Riddell. I think
he's just having a joke.
I think Matt Riddell is. I think the guy's hysterical.
You know what? Like,
first of all, like the bro infringement. I mean, guys, let me tell you, it's a bad habit I have. Okay. But bro, I will tell you this without a shadow of a doubt. Freaking DDP was broing long before me, and DDP still bros much more than me. So like when a Matt Rydell comes, I don't think this guy's ripping me off or anything like that. And I've seen him. I think the guy's hysterical.
You know what? I love Matt Riddle when he had this thing going on with Finn Balor, and Finn Balor was standing at a restaurant, posing like that, and his eyes were like all bloodshot and shit. And then Matt Riddell retweets it and just writes, "I remember my first time, bro." And I'm like, oh, this guy's such a fucking
I saw him when I saw the footage of Goldberg confronting him and shit, and I'm like, bro, this guy's got balls, man.
Yeah,
he
can back it up too.
But it's almost like he doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Remember, he did a video, a tweet, and he turned around and he was saying, "Oh, I couldn't get a ride into the performance center today because basically everyone told him to fuck off." And he put that, and he's like, you're all a bunch of fucking pieces of trash and shit, and he put it on the internet. He doesn't give a fuck, this kid. I say kid, he's in his 30s, but he's a
I'm a fan of his, bro. From what I've seen, I think he's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the other questions that we had just after that, where is it? Okay, so one of the question that everyone seems to be asking is, Vince, how would you book today's wrestling? How would you book today's wrestling? How would you book today's wrestling? And
I would hit it with a wrecking ball and start from the ground up. Bro, there's nothing this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is working. You're not doing anything that is going to gain casual television viewers. You're not doing anything that's going to grow an audience beyond the marks that watch it every single week. Nothing you're doing is working. It needs to be totally destroyed, blown up, and started again from scratch. That's what I would do.
I think, and I'm going to put this out because I've all the conversations I've had with my friends about this wrestler and the current storyline that they've been in since their return to WWE. They've got a potential big money match there, and they haven't done anything with it. And it's Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. To me, Bobby Lashley is a guy that they have, the perfect opponent, in height, weight, skill level to go face to face with Lesnar. Put a mouthpiece with him, so then you've got a Heyman go off like that. You could build that for months, but they put him in these ridiculous storylines.
Mm-hmm.
If you were back in the day and you had these two megastars, these two behemoths of human beings, let's take Lashley and Lesnar. These guys are a step above anything. What would you do with that storyline?
Bro, you just make them both absolute killers. You make them both absolute killers, and bro, everybody will see where it's going. Lesnar's destroying people, Lashley's destroying people. Everybody will see where it's going. Because, bro, that's the thing, man. That's the thing that we're missing. You want that big match where you don't know how they're going to book it. Either guy can go over. So, you've got to watch it because you don't know what they're going to do. That's what's lacking, bro. Those types of matches do not exist anymore, bro. They don't.
No, they don't. They want that quick turnaround, that storyline to last for 2 weeks, and then on to the next, and on to the next, and on to the next.
Yep.
And that's the thing. When I saw Lashley come back to WWE, I was like, oh, they're going to do a long build for this one. And then it ended up being now he's partnered up with, Lana. You've essentially ruined a legacy that could have been something incredible with Lashley.
I agree. Yep.
And also screwed yourself out of millions of dollars.
Yep, I agree.
One thing I wanted to tack onto that question, I remember you talking a while back about how when you got to TNA, you wanted to focus more on that surprise element where it was, we'll sort of tell you where we're going to go, like you said, and then just go out and shoot. And I think you talked about it in your Piper when Piper and you had the promo and whatnot. Do you think that's something that today could be implemented, especially considering,
bro?
that
It can
TV's
be,
going
bro. It can be implemented, but nobody's got the balls to do it. Bro, at the end of the day, especially the WWE, what do they always do, bro? They go back to what they know. They go back to their comfort zone. Bro, if I was sitting in a room with Paul Heyman and Bruce Pritchard and Michael Hayes and Triple H and Vince McMahon, and I pitched exactly that, they would look at me, bro, like I had lost my freaking mind. They always go back to what they know, bro. That's what they do, the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than badly written TV is bad. It's bad. I mean, and that's what it is right now. It's in that category of trash TV.
Bro, it's Raw, SmackDown, bro. It's the worst show on TV. I'm telling you, bro. I don't even think there's a show that's a close second. It is the worst show on television.
You know what? I watch Raw and SmackDown, but I'm not intently watching it. If that makes sense. Like, I'll be sitting there. I might put it on while I'm playing with my kids, or like if I'm on the phone, or doing emails or something like that. But I'm not sitting there glued to the channel. There are some promotions that I am doing that with. I love wrestling, so I'm always going to be watching wrestling, and I always like to keep up to date with the current product. But WWE is just something that, Raw and SmackDown are two shows that I just can't sit there intently and have my attention for that amount of time. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Vince, obviously we've just been going past the 1 hour mark, and we are very sensitive of your time, so we don't want to keep you for too much longer. But we have a little bit of a game that we do here, Vince, on Shooting the Shit Uncensored. Now, have you ever been to Australia?
Never been there, man. It's at the top of my bucket list, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. For you to come to Australia, we need to set you up, right? We need to get you prepared for Australia, because in Australia, we have a few different type of sayings. We have some slang words and stuff like that, okay? So we have a little bit of a game called Guess That Slang, all right? So obviously, you being from a New Yorker, you guys have a lot of slang over there as well. So, some of it might, be similar to some of the stuff you have, maybe. I don't know. But how it's going to work is I'm going to say a slang word or an expression, and I'll put it in a sentence, and you have to tell me what I'm talking about. All right?
Yeah. Okay. I like this.
All right.
I like this because I really do, man. I really do love the whole Australian culture. I love it, bro. It's a place I've always wanted to go to. I just hate traveling, especially far away. Yeah. But okay. So let me see how I do with this.
All right, let's do it. Okay. Oh, mate, I put in some hard yakka today.
Hard work.
Yep. Correct. Right. Hey, Vince, can I get some mates rates on that product? What am I asking for?
You're asking for a deal. You're asking for a deal. A good price.
Yeah, like a good price for a friend. All right, so you're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Oh, mate, I'm totally knackered after today.
Wait, say that again now.
I'm totally knackered after today.
I want to say this could be several things. I want to say tired, beat, exhausted.
Man. Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
You got it. Go on, mate, have a crack.
Say that again.
Go on, mate, have a crack.
Go on, like take a shot.
Yeah, like have a go. Well, man,
have a go at it. Take a shot.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's go to Bunnings and get a sausage sanger.
Let's go to, say it again.
Let's go down the road to Bunnings and get a sausage sanger.
sausage. I'm thinking let's go down the road to a certain place and get a certain type of food.
Yeah, so Bunnings are like a hardware store down here, and every Saturday and every Sunday they do sausage sandwiches. And I was actually telling my friend Kevin about this because he asked, he goes, "What's a Bunnings sanger? Bunnings snag?" And it's basically just a sausage on a piece of white bread with a bit of like barbecued onion sauce, and that's
at the hardware store.
Yeah, but for some reason,
That's
like
awesome.
a standard sausage sandwich at Bunnings is the best fucking sausage sandwich.
No, it
you'll ever
sounds
see,
like it,
man.
bro. That's where you find the best stuff. Absolutely. No, I'm with you. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like a food truck kind of, right?
Not even. It's just like random people like just cook like barbecuing. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
Oh,
it might be like a kid's soccer club or something like that.
So
go there
how
and collect
how
for
far
charity.
is that from you? How far is that?
Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
like
like
they're everywhere.
It's like Home Depot.
my closest one's about 10 minutes.
So you guys like every weekend you hit that up?
Yeah.
Well, now that I'm a homeowner and I'm a dad, yeah, like that's my kind of thing. Like,
that sounds delicious, man.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
all right, so we'll keep going. That guy Gary from down the road, he's a stubby short of a six pack.
These are good.
Oh man, I lost you.
You know?
I'm here. He's
All
a stubby short of a six pack. Well, here a six pack is your abs, but a stubby would be like a small wiener. He's a stubby away from a six pack. I think you got me on that one, man.
Okay, so if I say he's a stubby short of a six pack, it means he's a beer short of a full six pack, meaning he's not the full quid.
Okay, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, I got it.
All right. Okay, here's another one. Charles saw Jessica at the club the other night, and he had a bit of a pash. What did Charles have with Jessica?
A bit of a pash. I don't know. I don't know what that one is.
It's a kiss, but like a drunken kiss is like. Bleh,
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
yeah, bit all over the place.
Okay, I got you.
All right, so we got a few more, mate. I'm Devo about that footy game.
I'm pissed about that football game.
No, I'm devastated.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, all right.
Pissed,
give you a half
devastated.
point.
Yeah.
You want to listen to some Akadaka?
Neil Sedaka.
ACDC.
Oh, what do you call it? Akadaka?
Akadaka, yeah.
Oh, I like that, man. I never heard of that before. Now, where do you get Akadaka? Oh, from ACDC.
ACDC. Akadaka.
Akadaka. I like that. Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that one. I'm going to
Because
use
the ACDC got their name from the one of the guys had a vacuum cleaner which was a
Right.
Black and Decker.
right.
And then his younger sister couldn't say Black and Decker but would say Akadaka.
Oh, I
where they-
never knew. I knew that's where they got the name from, but I didn't know the second part of that story. Interesting.
Yeah. So all right. So we got last one here. This Sheila over here is so up herself.
This bitch over here is so full of herself.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yes. I didn't do bad, but I did about what, 70% maybe?
I reckon you did about 85. Yeah, I reckon you did a solid 85%.
Yeah.
I'd say, man. But Vince, you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure to sit here and talk with you and have a conversation about your career and the life of professional wrestling. And you know, I am know that you are time sensitive as well. We have had you for just over an hour. Vince, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to say and any last words or where people can find you and also the brand?
Yeah, I want to plug the brand, and I enjoy being with you guys too, man. You guys want to have me on anytime, just let me know. Seriously, I mean, this was a blast. This was cool. Just let me know. Charles, you know how to get a hold of me. But yeah, we have two outlets. We have two menus of many different shows with many different wrestlers on them. The first one is at patreon.com/Russo TWC. The second one is russosbrand.com. We have so many shows. We're always adding to shows. I like to boast that we have, real pros on our shows, people that have been there and done that, from Disco Inferno, Shane Douglas, Stevie Ray of Harlem Heat, Stevie Richards. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of, people we have. Francine is a part of it now. A lot of people that were in the wrestling business. So just basically check that out. And also, I'm on Twitch a lot, and a lot of guys come in there from Australia quite a bit. Twitch.tv/Vince Russo Live.
I just want to cut in here. Sorry, Piers. Just as a personal, I'm a member of the brand, so if people want to say I'm kissing his ass, that's fine. But
No.
if you like, you're wrestling a certain way and you don't agree with Vince, I mean, it's a couple of bucks a month, isn't it? $4 a month. Try it out. It's interesting. You get to hear the other side of the coin. Disco and Disco and Vince are probably my favorite show on the brand. It's interesting. If you don't like it, I mean, like you said, there's no lock-in. You can just cancel. It's a good time, and it
I'm definitely going to be checking it out.
Well, that was the thing too, Charles. It's funny that you said that, because there are a lot of podcasts and stuff like that where, they charge you for 6 months, or they charge you for a year. I didn't want that. I don't want that. I want you exactly what you said. You try us out for a month. If we don't give you your money's worth, don't come back the second month. I'm not going to tie you up for 6 months or a year. We go month by month by month, because I know every month, man, we're going to give you a ton of entertainment. So I appreciate that, Charles.
That's all right. Not a problem.
And Vince, thank you for the kind words, and you have an open invitation to come back on the show, and we are definitely going to have a part 2. But just hold on a second, let me wrap up, and we can have a quick chat in the back. But guys, just before we end tonight, I just wanted to say a special thank you to our sponsors. Special sponsor to Signal Studios, a recording studio here in Sydney. They make some amazing music. If you're after some music, if you're a professional wrestler, you want an entrance theme, you just want some music to write your own lyrics to, whatever it may be, hit up my friend Rafi. He'll be able to help you out. Also, Mayan Belts. If you're after a custom or a replica of your favorite championship belt, Mayan Belts are the best belt makers in the world, and they will hook you up for a great belt for a reasonable price. Also, A-Rock Designs, a company run by my good friend Ashley Rodriguez. She makes cups, tumblers, hoodies, t-shirts, key rings, whatever you need, and they are absolutely amazing. And they're not just only wrestling themed as well. So I've got a couple of cups coming for my kids. And also Immortal Restoning. If you've got a championship belt that needs a little bit of a facelift or an upgrade, contact Mr. Jeff Parthay, and he'll be able to definitely really rebuff that belt for you guys. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Vince, thank you very much for giving us your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to obviously meet you and speak with you. And let's try and tee up a part 2 for sure. I'd really enjoy that.
Anytime, Piers. I really enjoyed it, man. Thanks a lot, you guys.
No worries. Thanks very much, guys. And guys, please make sure you click subscribe to our channel. Also, head over to the brand. Check out Vince Russo's podcast, and also his other shows that he's got going on over there, guys. But guys, thanks very much. Stay safe, wash your hands, and stay inside. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.